Hi everyone. So we are gonna analyze Dabur sales, how it has been performing for a while. Now, normally, if you try to do it, you will have to go to multiple pages of the annual report. It's roughly, I have it on the screen here. It is roughly 450 pages. Anyways, it's gonna take like a long time. But so we are gonna explore how you can use AI tools to save your time and be more productive. So this is what we're going to try out. So imagine you have Dabur annual report already with you. I have picked 24, 25. This is 450 pages of worth of reports. Roughly, it can take anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. But we are going to explore a really cool tool called NotebookLM by Google. No, we are not going ChatGPT. You can actually go and use ChatGPT, but the problem is the moment you use ChatGPT and you upload the report over there and you start asking questions. Let's say the Dabur annual report 24-25 only has past 2 years worth of data, but the moment you ask it, hey, do you have data from 1947, for example, ChatGPT will go outside of that particular document and try to figure that part out, which is not available, right? So what happens with ChatGPT is that ChatGPT has access to internet and it can actually go on there and try to find that information. It can also come up with some stuff so which we don't want that, because it is a financial analysis that we are doing and we want each and every number, each and every letter written over there in our reports validated and cross-checked. Therefore we need to be so concise that we need to tell ChatGPT that, bro, only look at this annual report. So for that, Google came up with this tool. This is NotebookLM by Google. You can just click on this particular link, go to notebooklm.google.com. Over here, it's a free tool available for everyone. What you can do, it will give you, for example, in ChatGPT, you can start threads, right? You can start a conversation with ChatGPT and you can have access to all of that. NotebookLM, for you to even talk to NotebookLM, you have to provide certain sources. I'll just quickly show you how it works. So this is how it looks, NotebookLM. You just have to click on create new. You click over here. And so NotebookLM works on certain sources. Sources mean your data, everything that you're providing to it. It can be either a PDF file, it can be a text file, it can be an audio file, right? And there are more ways to upload. If you have any file in Google Drive, for example, you can see options over here. We have Google Docs and Google Slides. You can add a link, you can add a YouTube video, and you can also copy paste text over here. So there are multiple ways. In my screen, you would be seeing this number as 300. If you are running on the free version, the limit would be 50 at the time of this recording, 50. So this basically means you can upload 50 documents over here. It can be anything PDF or text, right? You can click on this particular button, browse it. I already have the file open. So I'm going to click on my downloads and I'm going to drag the file and drop it over here. This is how the interface looks like. On the left hand side, you will see the source section. Sources is basically all the documents that you are going to provide to it. In the middle of it, it's a chat. Currently, I cannot, but even if you ask anything, it won't be able to answer because the source is still uploading. It's a 450 pages file. It's a big file. And on the right hand side, there's a studio section. This is something that's pretty cool, but for the sake of the video, let's not go over there. But basically, just a summary, any source that you're providing, right? And based on your chat with NotebookLM, you can actually create a 2-person podcast audio out of it. So the moment this is done, this generate option comes up. You can click on that, and it's very cool. You can just collapse it. We are waiting for the source to upload. So again, same thing. So now, for example, ChatGPT versus NotebookLM. In ChatGPT, even if I want to stick to this particular context that, hey, I would like you to answer whatever I'm asking you. I gave you a question. You should only look in this particular document or the annual report, for example. ChatGPT will not always comply with that request. It won't always agree with that request. It will still find ways to, is it fine if I go to the internet and find information? A lot of times it happens, right? And in general, you can actually make it work, but then you have to write a very long prompts and everything and give it those instructions that, hey, bro, you should not go outside. Just stick to this particular document that I have provided to you. NotebookLM, by default, NotebookLM is built in that manner that only it will answer questions if the data or if the information is available in those provided documents. Else it will not answer to you. Let me just try to refresh. I think something is wrong with okay, some technical glitch. So we're going to start from here only. So now that you can see, the source has been loaded. Our PDF, the annual report that we uploaded, that is all available and prepared in NotebookLM. Over here, you can see a quick summary has been created. So NotebookLM uploaded your document, and then NotebookLM tried to understand what it is about. We got the logo over here, we got a cool little title and the summary for the document that we had. And now what happens here, you can ask normally as you would ask on ChatGPT. So, hi, can you tell me sales volume for the last 2 years? So here you can see it has access to one source. We can collapse this particular panel. So normally you can ask questions over here. I asked 2 years only. But basically what NotebookLM helps you is it acts as a really smart search engine. You can ask any question. It's a natural language, like in English, you can just ask it. I haven't read Hindi, but maybe it will work. So in normal language, as you speak with other people, you can just ask questions similar to how you speak with ChatGPT. You can just ask that particular question to NotebookLM and it's going to go inside the document, try to find out whether I have access to this information or not, and then it picks up that information and gives you the answer. So over here you can see, while the sources do not provide overall sales volume in terms of units. So now I added volume over here. I wanted that to happen. So now to just show you that, okay, when it is not available, what it does. So when it was not available, it gave us the revenue in absolute revenue for operations for the particular period, and you have all these numbers available over here. So let's say it's saying 24 to 25 revenue from operations was 12,563 CR. Represent the growth. Okay, fine. But the cool part about this is that the moment you see over here, when you zoom in on the screen and you see this one written over here, these are the citations or the sources from where which exact part of the document was NotebookLM actually able to bring this information from. Like this information is present where in this particular document. So you can just, I just zoomed in for the sake of it. You can see over here and then you can see, okay, this is roughly around the chairman's message. And then when you scroll down, you can also see like, okay, this is referring to this particular file. As I mentioned earlier, you can upload as many, you can upload up to 50 to 300 files over here. So when there are multiple files, this information also helps that which exact file are you referring to. Over here, what we are seeing is that only one file, but now we know, okay, it's roughly around chairman's message. We can do a very quick, so let me just copy this number, Control C. We can just very quickly check whether it is right or not, which is definitely mostly right. I'm just gonna paste it over here. You can see there are two search results. We'll go to this particular one. You can see this is the chairman's message that you are able to see. Dabur ended FY24-25 with a consolidated revenue from operations of 12,563 CR. So this number is right. Let's also take operating profit. Let's go back over here. Can you also give me operating profit with sales value instead of volume that I mentioned earlier? We can always mention I wanted in INR, for example. Operating profit, sure, in INR, else it might give you in percentage. We do not want the operating profit margins, we want the exact numbers. So we will have this thing, sales value in a table format. So this is what we're trying to do. Again, it went into the annual report. It figured out the numbers like, okay, these are the sales values. These are of the operating. These are the sales profit. So yeah, what it did, it went into your annual report. It figured out, yeah, okay, where can I find operating profit? This is the operating profit for the last 2 years. Let me fetch it. Now I need to find sales value in INR. Let me go in the annual report, figure it out and fetch it. then put it into a table as the user has asked me to do. You can see 2425, it says 2316 CR. Let us quickly check. Okay, saying 2317 CR, maybe it's a decimal thing. Yeah, it's 2316.4. So this number would also be mentioned somewhere, 2316.4. Oh, sorry, this is 2316.4 and then the comma. Then we try to find, okay, it is not working. Okay, we can remove this particular part. So where is it bringing it from? 2316.4. Okay, there are multiple sources. Okay, click. Okay, number 5, close. So you have 5, 6. Earnings number, equity, operating profit, 2316. Yeah, okay, so that's the, okay, fine, not a problem. Yeah, so you can see the operating profit, it was able to find 2316.4 CR, which is roughly over here in the later tables in your in income statements and all. We can actually see whether it is roughly around the same one. So it was able to figure that part out. You can see it was able to find out there are multiple sources referring to your operating profit. So that is what we can see from here. So now what do we do? So you need to send this to your boss, right? But now you cannot send this chat or a screenshot or this table, right? What if we created a tabular or let's create a chart instead, right? What we can do now, we come to another tool called gamma.ai, gamma.app. So yeah, let's do it again. Okay, so now we see another tool which we'll use for creating a presentation so that it looks beautiful, it looks very organized and presentable, that you can actually send to your boss or even to your client. Let's check out gamma.app. This is, you can access it from gamma.app, gamma.app. Over here, what it helps you out with, you provide a text, it gives you a presentation. It can be a PowerPoint, Google Slides, PDF. It can even create a web page for you. Let's quickly see. The moment you log in over here, there's a free plan also available. All of these, the tools that I'm sharing, all of them will have a free plan available, so you can try it out. Else, they will have a 14-day or 7-day trial, so you can explore it freely. This particular tool, we'll click on create new over here. Then there are multiple options. You have an option for paste in text if you already have an outline. If you already have, for example, your boss emailed you some instructions like, hey, in the presentation, this needs to be there. So if you already have those kind of notes or an outline or any existing content you have to paste, you can choose that option, which is what we're gonna choose. The other options are you can actually generate, for example, I'll just say like, hi, can you, I need to present Dabur sales numbers to my boss. That one sentence can also go here, but then you don't have control where it is fetching the information from because you've already done the research. Let's stick to paste in text. Thirdly, if you already have a URL, or for example, if you already have a document or a web page or even a presentation or a PowerPoint, you can click on import file or URL and then you can upload your file over there and it beautifies your presentation or whatever web page you have. So this is where to start from. This is your starting point. Let's go from paste in text. I'm gonna come back to NotebookLM, copy this particular table, and then you Control C, Command C, copy. We come over here. All you have to do is paste the content over here. Before that, I just need to mention what am I expecting out of this presentation. So let's say presentation for Dabur sales, sales growth and operating profit growth in a chart format. And then I press enter, and then okay, we also need to mention that this is for the following data, that is below, for the below data. Then we press enter and then we just have to paste it. Usually it works out. Let's see whether it works or not, but it's gonna work out. So you have presentation for Dabur sales growth and operating profits growth in a chart format for the below data. We have given the data. Where did the data come from? NotebookLM. How did the NotebookLM give you the data? From the annual report. So that chain of custody is not broken yet. Everything is coming from your annual report only. So now what we're going to do, before that, there are multiple options over here. What would you like to create? There are 4 options. You can create a presentation, you can create a web page, you can create a document, or you can also create a social post. We are going to stick to presentation. There is this option whether whatever how you wanted to look. You wanted a taller one like a portrait, or you wanted a traditional one, that's a landscape. So you can click an option. By default you can just let it be. Then on the right hand side it will give you optionally if you want. So in your slideshow or in a presentation we call it slides. Over here we call cards, gamma. So card, slide, interchangeable term. It's basically the same thing. If you want that kind of control, you can also come back over here and mention those things. So that is a separate part. So next, when you scroll down, you will see what do you want to do with this content. Now you have provided this data and these numbers. Then you'll see there are multiple options. By default, you can always click the first option, but let's say if you had a huge document that you needed to present in a very concise manner, then you provide that document and then you select the second option, which is your summarize long text or document. So whatever your intent is for the scope of this particular video or this current use case that we have, we are gonna turn rough ideas into beautiful content, the first option. Third option is there, preserve this exact text. So for example, if you want to preserve anything that you already have, like you have slide 1 should have this thing, slide 2 should have this contact, and the text should be used as is or verbatim, then only you can select the third option. What will happen over here is that Gamma will take care of, okay, this is the content, and then apart from this, everything I need to take care of. The slides, the layout, the theme, the images that it generates, the font, colors, everything it takes care of. So if you have a document, you need to present in a very good manner, go for the third option. Currently, let's stick to the first option and click on continue to prompt editor. Now finally is this is the last step that you have. This will give you the final control on, okay, not so final, but the second last final control on what you can actually put in the cards. So here we have already mentioned presentation for Dabur sales. Additional instructions on the right hand side, you can also see that we can, you can just mention that, hey, create charts, create column charts for the provided data. It is completely optional, as I have already mentioned over here in the content. This instruction can also go on this particular tab. It's completely fine. Just try it out. This is a freeform text. On the left hand side, you will see multiple options. If you are just starting out, just let it be, because based on the content you have provided, Gamma itself figured out what you are wanting to do, what you are trying to do. And over here you have amount of text. You want it detailed, concise, extensive. I usually go with minimal, because in presentation I don't want to read a presentation. I just want to get the gist of it and move on. Everyone has their own preferences. You can even go extensive. It will completely have paragraphs of text on the presentation. Completely your choice. Whichever you prefer, you can select over here. Text content, if you want it condensed, if you want it preserved, to keep as is, the option we saw in the last slide, it is reconfirming from you, like, are you still okay with that? So generate is fine. Then you go the minimal is fine. Right for, this is a good point. What you need to keep in mind is that the presentation that I'm creating, who is the audience gonna be? If they are watching this particular presentation, who are they? Like, who is sitting in the audience, right? So over here we have mentioned, right, for Dabur stakeholders interested in financial performance. We can write over here Dabur board, for example, Dabur board members interested in financial performance of Dabur. So you have to describe your audience over here. Then second, by default it already gave you a draft, right? That it was auto populated. It understood your content and figured out, like, okay, this content will be presented to this kind of an audience. Let me take a shot at it, and it guessed, and it was all fine, right? I just added a few words. Tone, you can have, like, hey, you want to be analytical, professional, concise, you want to be funny, you want to be witty, You want to be, I don't know, you want to be diplomatic, you can even mention all of that over here. Then output language is completely fine. Visuals, there are a bunch of options. You can click on view more and see multiple themes available. What I've seen usually in my experience is that you usually go with, a bunch of, so this toss is what you're seeing. You can also create a template, create a theme and save it so that every time you don't have to choose this option. I have given that, but you can always select any other options, right? Let's go with the consultant one. Image sources, Gamma, you have already only given it text part, right? And a table which it has to convert into a chart. What if you also needed some visuals? So Gamma helps you out with that. So Gamma will convert this text into, for example, you have added 10 cards over here. We don't want 10 cards. Let's drop it down to 5 is fine, I think. We dropped it down to 5, right? Now what we need to happen, if there is any white space in the intro slide, in the outro slide, in the middle of the slides, if there is any white space, Gamma will itself come up with visuals and present over there. Next we move on. So then you can mention that, okay, which image source should we have? Should it automatically select whatever option we have? Should it only go to with the Google or the web and search the internet for images? So these images are original, not original, but like these are non-AI generated. These are non-AI generated images that are available on the internet. You can go with that. Stock photos, if you have Unsplash, you have your Pictree and any of these Picnic or any of these apps, you can use that. By default, you can just let it be automatic, or you can actually go and click on AI images, which is the default option. So you have image art style, you can select what style would be there. If you want extra keywords, for example, okay, minimalism and everything. So this is the depth of Gamma. They have multiple features. Not necessarily you will require, on day one, you will require the complete understanding of the whole thing. Currently, we can just move on with our use case. You can feel free to explore this whole thing. Format, we anyways did it. Now, what we need to do, we need to click on generate. That's it. Gamma is going to understand like, okay, this is a text that I have. This is what the user is trying to do. And this is my audience. And these are, this is how the presentation should look like. This is how the images should come up. This is what I, need to create a chart for or anything. Now you just have to wait and watch. You can see on the screen, it's just happening by itself. Else, it would have taken like an hour or so for the annual report part to fetch the numbers and everything, convert that into whatever you actually wanted. Then it would have taken like maybe another hour for you to figure out the presentation if you were doing it on PowerPoint, from creating a new slide, setting up everything, text, polishing them, formatting it, the layout, the uniform, padding, spacing and everything, and then figuring out these micro decisions that you need to do, which not essentially add value to this particular task, like what color should be there, what font should be there, what kind of chart should I have and everything, right? So now you can see it takes care of all of that for you. Now if you ask me, this is also you see over here, so it figured out like, okay, what Dabur does and everything, and then it was able to figure out such sort of an image would look best over here. Now what it has essentially done is given me a very good enough draft that I can build on top of. So I don't need to take care like, okay, where on the screen should the text be, which side should the image have. Now that is all basic, it's all covered, right? Now you can actually come over here, make some changes like, okay, Dabur financial performance analysis, you can mention 2024, 2025, prepared by Dhaval. You can add whatever you want over here. So you can see this is like complete. If you have used PowerPoint, if you have used Google Slides, if you have used Canva, it is very much the same. It's a drag and drop. You can whatever you're seeing on the screen is what you'll get in the presentation. That all access you can get. On the right hand side, you'll find a bunch of blocks, a bunch of tools, which I am not going to cover in this particular video. It's all, if you want to go much deeper into how exactly I can extract the most amount of value from Gamma, that is what then you can do over here. Then you can see revenue growth snapshot. We have over here 1.3% increase in consolidated revenue. Currently I have to, also you can, if you are showing it to your boss or if you are showing it on a Zoom session, you can just click on present and then you can go full screen. The option comes over here. Yeah, so now you can just use your arrow keys. For example, you can click on screen and just you can, this is the first slide, this is the second slide. You can see revenue growth over here. You have to scroll a bit. 1.3% increase in consolidated revenue. How do you see the values? You just take your cursor, take your mouse on this particular part and see like, okay, what is this? If you want it shown on the top of it, I'll show you that as well. Then what else we had? Operating profit trends, 2023, 23, 24, 24, 25, 3.5% decrease in operating profit. Okay. Next slide, we have revenue versus profit comparison. You can see the revenue and operating profit 23, 24, same for 24, 25. And on the last slide, you can see over here the performance. Revenue has grown by 1.3%, profit has declined by 3.5%, and operating margin has also reduced from 19.4 to 18.4, what you can see over here. And then see, this is the part we did not ask Gamma to do, but it was able to figure out the context, what you are trying to do. Over here, you can see what Gamma has done. We only asked it to give us the visualization. Here is the text, here is a table, create a chart out of it, give me a presentation. Now you can see the recommended focus areas it was also able to figure out because it's again an AI tool, right? So it is saying that you need to figure out your cost optimization initiatives, pricing strategy, high margin product push, then only you will be able to fix these things. Of course, you need an analyst to come in, your consultant to come in and verify all these facts and then what strategy to figure out. Or you can just take the slide, give to ChatGPT and ask like, hey, can you give me based on these recommended focus areas, can you give me a strategic plan? How will I go ahead and implement it? And can you actually compare this with, for example, any other company in the same vertical? Can you compare this with HUL, for example, in the Sun Unilever, any other Remami or whatever, right? So those are all the options available. So that is all. One last thing I wanted to show, if I can close the full screen, exit the mode. Yep. 1 second. Yeah, got it. So what you can do, you can now, what if you have to share this with your boss? You can just come over here and you can click on export. The moment you go there, you have multiple options available. You can export it to PowerPoint, Google Slides. You can actually get images out of it, PNG format, or you can just do export to PDF. You can download that. You can directly post to LinkedIn. Multiple options. Feel free to explore this thing. You can close this thing. Also, I mentioned that I'll show you one thing. In this chart, currently I have to take my mouse onto this chart to figure out like, okay, what is the number? You can just click over here and then you have this option called show values. And then you can just click on show values. You have the numbers visible over here. If you want to change the chart data, you click on this particular option and you can actually change it. If so, for example, I would say, let me come here. Let me add the rupee symbol. And when I click out, the rupee symbol comes, but there is, okay, let's not do this thing. Yeah, okay, let's cut this particular part, right? Let's not come in. Okay, I don't know how that worked. Yeah, so this is how you can show the values on top of it. You can click outside and now you see 12404 CR, 12563 CR over here. But you just have to do the same thing for all the charts that you have available. So great, I think that was it for the video. So I am pretty sure that now you'll be able to figure out like, okay, how can I save time? How can I be more productive when it comes to fetching information or searching for certain information within an annual report? You can ask very complex questions as well that require multiple steps. NotebookLM is used for that. You give it a source, you ask a question, it will only use that source to figure out the answer to that question. Second thing this is the first tool that we saw, NotebookLM by Google, free version available. Then we saw Gamma, where we can take that text that NotebookLM has provided, put it into Gamma. Gamma takes input as your text and gives the output as your presentation. So that is also available over here. So these are the two tools that we saw. I hope this helped you out, and feel free to explore more tools. Feel free to explore how you can be more productive and see if there's. What I usually recommend is like, if you are working on a computer, you should, or if you're working on any task, you should focus your time on where actually your brain is required. And this is how the tools help you out. Like, okay, everything secondary that is there, that even the computer can do it for you, was taken care of by the tools, right? But where your brain is required, for example, this particular part in the last slide that you saw, right? Should this content even be here? Did my boss ask about it? Is my boss's audience are they gonna care about it? So these are the questions that you need to ask yourself, and then figure out like, okay, how to. So these are the horses. All these tools are horses, right? But even the fastest horse needs a jockey. So you are the jockey for that. So you need to tell it what to do. It is a very powerful tool. ChatGPT, NotebookLM, Claude. There are billions of tools right now. You just need to figure out, okay, what I need to ask, what I need to tell, what input should I give, and how much context should I give, so that the tool can perform the task at its max potential. So that is all for the video. Thank you. I'm gonna see you in the next video.